My question to you is that you had, in real life, you had Sara when you were 26.
No, younger, I think.
Younger, 24.
24, yeah.
So were you ready for her at that time?
Well,
and you had Taimur when you were 46.
Yes, yes.
So how was it at that age? You've had children at two very differing ages.
Absolutely. I remember Sara and how beautiful and I used to get free taxi rides because Sara was in the car in Switzerland and in London.
Okay.
Like about 4 cab drivers have told me we won't charge you because this kid is too cute. And I remember the first time she touched the rain was on my lap, the first time she saw snow, various things. And it was amazing. But there was also a sense of like having my own thing to do. I might have been a little impatient with her. I remember once I fired her I told her not to buy something from a shop and then she put it on the thing anyway and I was losing my temper, which is so wrong, and in that sense, I'm much more patient and you realize it's about the kids. So Taimur, I enjoy watching him do his stuff and I come down, not down, but I come onto his level when I'm with him, and that's all he wants in a conversation. Sometimes we're impatient, we're like, oh no, don't be silly, come on, we've got to go. Go where? I don't know, that's the difference now. Like I'll slow down and have that conversation with him, which I don't know if I had with her as much, even though all my children, all 3 of them, like one cannot replace the other ever. So if I'm upset with Sara for something, being with Taimur doesn't make me feel better. If Taimur's annoyed me he's too young really, or if Ibrahim's doing something that's concerning me, talking to Sara doesn't make it. So they literally have 1/3 of my heart each, which is interesting. It's just that every time you have a child, you divide your love into that.
I get that.
But the kid, the youngest one, is different, because they kind of run around and they're much more dependent than the older kids who need you in a different way.
Now you talked about father being the most important person in somebody's life.
Yeah.
What was your relationship with your father and how are you with your kids as a father?
I think the big difference between my generation, and I have a few friends like this also, and our fathers, is that they were a little Victorian, there was a strong kind of English influence of a little strict upbringing. So they were loving in a different way, but they weren't very showing. And to my sisters, they showed more, at least affection. But I don't remember much like affection or physical. So it was a little strict, and I respected him / was a bit nervous or frightened. He didn't like it if I said I'm frightened of him, but I was, because he was a very imposing personality, my dad. And he's never raised his voice to anybody, but he could command like so much respect. And he had that eye that made it look like he was giving you and I was very naughty. So he used to constantly be going, Saif, what have you done now? So I was perpetually like one of those kids that are in the doghouse. And my mum spoiled me quite a lot more, perhaps to balance it. But so that's what it was. But in retrospect, like Dad was a really respectable guy, like he had just even the people that worked for us or the friends that he had, everyone just looked up to him because he was this consistent personality. But he was not overly demonstrative or, we played some sport together, but that father-dad kind of bonding thing, he was there. If you needed him, you just had to pick up a phone. I miss him today also sometimes. There's so much going on. I ask him, what should I say? If somebody asks me this, I'll get the perfect answer. So that way he was always there as a dad. But in kind of that bonding, friendly way.
You missed that.
So that was missing. So I make sure that I have that equation with my kids.
Tell me, what advice would you give? You talked about this and it was a very sensitive subject. You talked about men who create kids but don't have the time for them, and those kids are later on forced to go in for therapy, and they're looking for friendship, they're looking for family.
Well, parenting is like a science. We should do some studying on it. We should read more, and everyone needs to be part psychiatrist really in order to bring up kids, because we have to be experts at what do you do if the kid shouts, we just used to get a whack. But that's not necessarily the answer, you have to be a little more sophisticated in your parenting and work with your wife at how you raise these kids. And people have children, but they're very young and they don't really know what they're doing. So the father sometimes damages so much self-esteem, what a kid feels, that he ends up needing therapy, you know. And people say in the first job of therapy is to undo the damage your parents have done, you know. So people should be aware that you can do a lot of damage.
My last question, and my office girls have forced me to ask this. They said, it's about your son, Taimur. Is he aware of what you're doing? Does he know that you're an actor? And
he's now become aware, kind of aware, because he sees clips on the phone of things I've shot, and he's like, show me your song, or show me that scene. So he's understood that there's something that happens, but
he's not seen a complete film of yours.
No, but he doesn't like the idea of, you know, he's saying, where are you going? Birthday party or shooting? So these are the only two outings he understands. And he gets it now, slowly he's understanding, because he watches it and he's quite amused by it.
Okay.
So I think wo lag jayega keeda already.